Okay, today's video is going to be a little bit different. I know you're probably used to seeing on your home feed, this is so great in my life. I made this much money. Business is awesome. Do this side hustle. Da 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 da. But in today's video, I want to talk with you about the dark side of entrepreneurship. The side of entrepreneurship that most entrepreneurs don't talk about and probably don't want you to know about, but I'm going to keep it real and we're going to dive in. This is going to be a very vulnerable video, but let's get into it. Okay, first let's start with how chasing success can be great, right? But it can also take over and maybe even ruin your life. So let's talk about it. As many of you know, my very first business was a photography business. And what spiraled off of that photography business was teaching photography education. And that's how I got into digital products. I started creating digital products for other photographers, educating them on, things like posing, lighting, how to book more clients, things like that. And with that education business, the whole reason I started it is because as a photographer, I was trading my time for money. I was so busy. I was really overworked. I was doing like up to 10 photo shoots a week. I had pretty much no free time. During the week, I was doing portraits. During the weekends, I was doing weddings. I had like no time to hang out with friends, family. I really hustled my little buns off in my 20s, which was cool, but that really led me to burnout and wanting to seek a business that would give me a more freeing lifestyle, which is what led me to digital products. And so when I started that digital product business, in the forefront of my mind was like time freedom, automation. I remember reading that 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss, which is still an amazing book to this day. And I really set up my business with that very intentionally. And within a couple years, where I found myself with that education digital products business was I was doing about $500,000 a year revenue, and I had a ton of free time. To the point where, I was wanting to start other businesses because I didn't know what to do with my free time. I was just like reading books in the woods, going for hikes, like doing whatever I wanted. And even though that was really cool and, I had achieved the thing that I wanted to achieve, and I love having time freedom still to this day, at that time, I was in my mid 20s and all of my friends were really hustling at their jobs. And I found myself having all this free time and really nobody to hang out with. And, I should have done something else. I should have found more things to fill my time. I know that's a silly problem to have, is I didn't know what to do with my time. But the average person in their mid 20s doesn't have a ton of free time. And everywhere I went, there was really no one my age. It was all retired people. I just found myself being really lonely. It was cool having all that free time, don't get me wrong, but I found myself feeling really lonely. And it was the first time I had ever experienced that much freedom. So I didn't know how to best utilize it. And so I was like, I'm going to start new businesses, blah, 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 blah. And I found myself at a business conference, and the person that was speaking on stage was like, we have this mastermind filled with all these entrepreneurs. And I was like, wow, that'd be so cool to join that thing. There'd be all these people who understand me, and I wouldn't feel so lonely anymore. But what ended up happening, and this isn't to say masterminds are bad, of course, but what ended up happening was I basically joined that thing to not be as lonely and to figure out what to do with my free time. And long story short, all of those entrepreneurs, they were not about what I was about. They were not about free time and freedom and all of that. They were about just growing your business as big as you possibly could. And for some reason, I really bought into that. And looking back, I just genuinely don't even know why, because that just wasn't the reason that I started my digital products business in the first place anyways. And I just really bought into this, oh yeah, let's see how big I can grow it, and I am a big believer that money is not evil, especially in the hands of good people. And, especially I think it's only 2% of female business owners ever build $1 million plus business. So I do remember being really intrigued by that as well. And the people in this mastermind, they were like, okay, in order to scale your business, you're going to want to do high ticket. And even to this day, especially on YouTube, high ticket or high ticket bros, as I like to call them, are a really, really big thing on YouTube right now. High ticket. And listen, done and dusted. I have done that, and I will never do that again, because what ended up happening was chasing success basically took over and ruined my life. I no longer had in the forefront of my mind, like time freedom, time freedom, time freedom. I was just like, I'm going to grow this business as big as I can. And these people are telling me to do high ticket. So I'm going to do high ticket. And then fast forward a couple of years, and I was working more than I had ever worked in my entire life. I was working from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to sleep. I gained like 45 pounds. I had a team of like 20 some full-time employees. I basically was like a glorified manager. I ended up managing all these people. I didn't know what I was doing. And it was just honestly horrible. And I'm not going to say obviously that that's a horrible business model for everyone. You can do whatever you want, but for me, the whole point of the digital products business was not to trade my time for money, not to work myself into an early grave, not to make my life about work. I don't want my life to support my work. I want my work to support my life. And I feel like this is like, one of the dark sides of entrepreneurship that people don't really talk about is like, you have to be really careful about the business model that you decide to go with. And I think you have to start your business having a really clear direction of what you want. Do you want to grow a business just to grow some massive company that's going to have to, talk to board of directors and they're going to tell you what to do? And I don't want any of that. I want to, share helpful content, make fun videos. And most of the time I want to spend with my friends and my family and at the pottery studio and doing the fun things that I enjoy doing. So really, really get clear on not only how much money you want to make, because I feel like that's the thing that people focus on is like, I want to be a millionaire. I want to make 6 figures. I want to make 10K a month. And that's great. Again, money is not evil, especially in the hands of great people. Money is actually very powerful. And if you want to create change, it's something that is very useful to have. It's also a very useful tool to have to create freedom in your life. But again, be very clear on the type of business and why you want to start that business aside from just money, and then try not to steer away from that. If you want to have a business to support your lifestyle, to have more freedom, that is going to be a very different business model than just, I want to grow this super big company to sell or have a board of directors or go public with the stock market or whatever it is you want to do. At least for me, this was a dark side of my journey because I feel like my ego just got sucked into like hitting new numbers and growing my business bigger when that wasn't why I started it to begin with. Now, I'm happy to say to this day, I have clawed back all of the mistakes that I had made over the years, and I now have, again, a multi-6-figure per year digital products business that is mostly passive. I have a lot of free time. I have done a lot of therapy to realize that I don't need to fill my time with more business BS. I don't need to fill my time with having lots of businesses. I can have hobbies that I don't have to monetize. I can have a life, and I deserve a life outside of having a business. I know that in America, at least where I live, we live in a capitalistic society. And I think sometimes that can just really grab a hold of us and make us think that the only way that we are, worth something as if we're like working and achieving. And it doesn't have to be that way. At least for me, I'm a lot happier now that I have better balance in my life. I have come back to the original business model that has brought me so much time, freedom, and happiness. I have learned through over 4 years of therapy to really fill my days and time with hobbies that I don't have to monetize. And that's okay. That's okay. Like I said, I spend my time like reading, taking baths, going to pottery classes with my friends, going out to dinner. Tonight, Aaron and I are going for vegan pizza and date night at this tea house. I'm very, very excited for that. So get really clear on why you want to have your business and try not to stray. Try not to let other people tell you, no, it's better this way. It's better this way. It's better this way. Maybe it is for them, but you're clear on what you want. And so you're not going to stray from that. Okay, that really leads me into my next point. Again, this is something I feel like I'm not hearing anyone really talk about this, and I think it's really important to hear. Be very, very, very careful who you take business advice from. And if you're listening to this and you're like, well,
this is the chick I should be careful of. She has a freaking nose ring. What a loser.
That's cool. I don't have to be the educator for you. That's totally fine. You can click away and go to someone else's video. That is fine, because not every single educator is for everyone, and that's okay. And I think you should be picky about who you decide to learn from. I think you should do a lot of research on them. I think you should make sure that they connect a bit, at least with your core beliefs. I think you should also look into the lifestyle that they're currently living. Is it the one that you want? because I have had a number of mentors over the years that I have spent a lot of money with. A lot. I'm talking like 20 to 80 grand a year for these mentors, which I am not currently doing that anymore, personally. And one of the mentors I had at the time, for some reason, I just didn't have enough confidence at that time to realize like what that person was teaching and what I wanted in my life did not go together. And that's okay. Instead, I just didn't know where and what to do with my business. And so I basically just like latched on to the first mentor that I found and just did everything that, they told me to do. And I think that's one downside of being like a hyper implementer is like, I can implement the shit out of stuff. Like I can get stuff done, right? I can get it done fast, but I need to make sure that I'm working on the right things. And so do you. And so really do your research on these mentors, because this one mentor that I had in particular, I remember him asking me like, well, what's your goal with your business? And my husband and I both were like, oh, well, we just want to like make as much money and save as much money as possible so we can retire early. And I remember this mentor being like,
oh no, you don't want to retire early. You'll be bored. You won't know what to do with yourselves. You're going to want a business.
Like, hello, past Molly. What were you thinking? Red flag, red flag, red flag. Like this person just gaslit me into believing the things that I wanted, I didn't want. What on earth? Like, I'm so glad that I have become the person that can now see that that is absolute BS and have the confidence to like really choose who I learn from very wisely and carefully. Because also every mentor does not have your best interests. There are people out there that really genuinely like educating and helping people. And then there are people out there who just want to make a ton of money and don't care about you. They don't care about your success. They don't even care to listen to what your original goal was and say, cool, that's a great goal. No, instead they're saying,
that's not the goal you want.
Gaslight, gaslight. So be very careful. The other thing is one of the mentors I had, I look at their life and it's like they work all the time, literally all the time. There are a lot of really big YouTubers out there right now teaching business and they work all the time. Like literally, I'm talking like minute they wake up, minute they go to sleep, even on weekends, they don't hang out with friends, they don't hang out with family. Like, is that the life you want? If it is, by all means, follow those mentors, but be very careful, be very clear on why you're starting a business, what you want to do, what are your core beliefs. Write them down and put them on a piece of paper on the wall next to you, because it is very easy once you start having business success to get sucked into the more. The he said, she said, the masterminds, the ego, the da-da-da-da-da. Be clear on who you are and don't be afraid to be different in an online business space of people who are just trying to make more. Okay, to piggyback off that, let's talk about the real pressure there is out there online to grow fast. There's all these videos out there. I made 6 figures. I made $1 million. Well, I made 10 million. Well, I made 100 million. Who cares? Like, what is the purpose of your business? And also, revenue is not profit. I'm going to say that again. Revenue is not profit. Okay. I recently shared in a live stream the amount of money I made, the projects I did that went well, the projects I did that didn't do well, in a live stream on my YouTube channel. And I was almost afraid to share because I thought people would be like,
well, she doesn't make enough money.
Multiple 6 figures, because that is how the world, especially social media, can make you feel when there's all these people out there just trying to one up each other, just trying to make more. And for what? Like, obviously, I'm someone who wants enough money to have freedom and donate to the causes that I care about and try to create change, especially in my messed up freaking country right now. And also, have money to retire and retire early and be comfortable and help my family members and things like that. I don't need to have the biggest business in the world. I don't need to have a business that's publicly traded on the stock market. Like, whatever you want to do is up to you. I don't need that personally, but it can be very, very easy to see all of these people just trying to go bigger and have that pressure to grow fast. And I want to say a couple things about growing fast. It is not all glamour. Like, yeah, making more money can be cool, right? Especially in the hands of good people. But here's something they don't tell you. I had a year in business where we went from basically zero to $2 million a year in 2 years.
Wow, cool. That's so great, Molly.
Yeah, it was great. And it was also hell. Like, and people don't talk about how much work it is to grow that fast. I am now a fan of sustainable, consistent growth. I have really built my current business, Freedom Creator, around this model. I have one main digital product. It is a membership. That way I also have MRR, which is monthly recurring revenue. I am not trying to be like,
we need to get to $5 million next year.
No. In fact, I recently Googled how fast the average business grows. It's like 2 to 10% or something like that. Like, you will be surprised. That's like fast growth, like the top of that. Okay, you can go Google it to see exactly what it said, but I was surprised by that because there's so many business owners out there that make it seem like it's normal to grow like 400% every single year. And if you don't, you're a freaking moron. Don't let the comparison game get you down. If you are growing your business or even sustaining the growth that you have made and you're happy with it, then that's great and you should celebrate that. And the other thing is that revenue is not profit. Revenue is not profit. Revenue is not profit. When I had a business doing $2 million a year revenue, I also had a giant team. It was a mess. I was working all the time. And I make more profit now, and I am way happier now with my smaller business than I ever was with a business that big. And I'm not saying my current business won't get to that point, but it will in a sustainable, consistent, healthy fashion. Growing that big overnight is not all that it is cracked out to be. I promise you that. And I'm not sharing this to dissuade you from trying to grow your business. I'm just saying if you're comparing yourself to others growing really, really fast, just know that there are downsides to that too. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is why your intuition is your best asset. If there is someone out there giving advice that in your gut, you're like, I don't know about this. My intuition says this is off. Then don't freaking do it. Don't do it. If you need permission from someone to say that you are enough, you are smart enough, your gut and intuition is smart enough, I will be that person for you. Because again, I look back to 20-something Molly and all of the older dude mentors that told her
her goals were not accurate and she had to do this and she had to do that.
I didn't have to do any of that shit. And I shouldn't have. But I did. And it was easy to fall into that trap of the bigger, more. These people know what they're talking about. It's wild. Like, go with your gut. Choose a mentor if you need one. If you don't, that's cool too. Who is really going to align with what it is that you want, and know that your intuition and your gut is probably better than any mentor out there. And your intuition is only going to get better over time because you will make mistakes no matter what, but you can grow from those. And that's why I don't really like to call them mistakes in business. I like to call them learning lessons because that's essentially what business is it's just a series of learning lessons. And every time you have one of those learning lessons, you grow and you become better and you have better intuition and you in turn, grow your business in the direction that you want to. So remember, your journey does not have to mirror anyone else out there. It can be your own journey. And it is still great to learn from other people out there, but be clear on why you're doing this. What are your core beliefs? Do you want a business where your life supports your business and you just live to work? Or do you want to work a little bit to live? Do you want to have a business that supports your lifestyle, that gives you freedom, that gives you money to have freedom, to have choices? That's what I want. And let me know in the comments how you feel. I'd also love to know what was your top takeaway from this video. If you enjoyed it, let me know. This is not the type of video that I normally do, but if you guys like it, I'm happy to do more of these sit down, peel behind the curtain kind of videos. And now that you know what I find to be the dark side of entrepreneurship that not enough entrepreneurs are talking about, you might be wanting some inspiration, some motivation. And I have a video where I ask YouTubers at a YouTube conference how much money they make and where they started and how they got to where they are today. It is one of the most inspiring and motivating videos that I have made on this channel, in my opinion. So if you are wanting to grow your YouTube channel, start your YouTube channel, see what's possible and how much money these people are making and the change they're making and the lifestyle they live and all that cool stuff, then go ahead and click on that video next here, because when you pair what we just talked about with what's in this video, it's going to be way more powerful. See you in the next video.